All right. So I think it's enough for dictionaries. Now let's go to functions. Okay. All this is going to be very important once we do our GUI project. So functions. So the way to create functions. Actually, one second. Let me just answer a quick question. If I create with no values, if I create a dictionary with no values assigned to the keys, and I want to assign the values later, would I have to reiterate the dictionary of the for loop and assign the values to the keys, or is there a separate function for that? No. Actually, you can just do it like this. You can create an empty dictionary by just having these two, like okay, actually, yeah, you can have an empty dictionary, and then you'd use this same notation and just add it as whatever you want. So like you could, if I have an empty dictionary and I only wanted to add student number, I just do the same thing, but I don't have to put anything inside this dictionary. Okay, so let's just get into functions now. So the way to make a function, and if you don't know what a function is like a block of code that does something that you want to repeat. So say I have like a math equation and I want to do it, but I do this math equation like 10 times, right? In my code, I don't have to write the equation every single time and that I want to do this math equation. So what I could do is I just make a function for that math equation, and then whenever I want to calculate that equation again, I just call that function. So you do this. You say DEF. DEF stands for define, and you're defining a new function. And then you have your function name. I'm going to make something called a calculate age. Okay. So yes, you can create nested dictionaries. That's possible. Year born, current year. Okay. So actually, so what if I wanted to calculate the age of someone? Okay. I can say age equals to current year minus year born, right? This is just a simple equation. What is year right now? What was the year you were born? Now calculates your age in this age variable, right? This year minus the year you were born. And you have to, in this function, you have to return a value. So if I return, click do return like this, and I put age, what it does is this is like now a function, and it calculates your age or the age you put, and then it returns that, so it gives you back the age. The recording will be posted on the R3 YouTube channel. So let me now click on, let me do print. Actually, let me say my age, okay? Age is equal to, and I say calculate age, 2020, yeah, sorry, 2000, that's when I was born, and 2021. Okay, so what I did here was this. I said my age is, and then what I do is I call this calculate age function, and I put in the year I was born and the current year in the same order. See how these are parameters, by the way. And I put the parameters here saying, okay, when you call this function, I need these two values when you're calling them. The year born and the current year. And I separate them by a comma. So here, when I actually call this function, what I say is my age is equal to calculate age, and I put the year born, so 2000, and my current year, 2021. Okay? And then I print my age. Okay? So now it's 2021. So if you calculated before, it should say 21, right? So print my age. See, it printed 21. Let me actually just comment this out. All right. So I print it again just here, 21. So the calculate age function calculated my age and printed it. Say I have friend's age equals to calculate age, and say they were born in 1995, okay? And then 2021 is the current year. I can print again. I print my friend's age. See here? So 21 is my age, 26 is friend's age. Okay, so that's a function. A function is a piece of code that does something like that you're gonna repeat. So I repeated this calculate age 2 times. I don't want to have to say 2000 minus 2021, 1995 minus 2021 every time. I want to make it simple, and also this is actually makes your code much easier to read because you can comment above this function what this function goes. So I can say function that calculates age. Okay. And now, whenever someone reads my code and sees calculate age, he knows always that, or they know always that you're calculating the age. This variable is like the age given these two values because they can see that this is a function. If I just put here without any comments or anything, and I say 2000 minus 2021. If you look at it without knowing anything, what is this? You wouldn't know what 2000 minus 2021 is. But because I made it a function, I called it there's calculate age, and I commented it and everything. Now it's like much easier for a person to read. I'm gonna copy another function from here. This is more like math. So say you have to calculate simple interest. Okay, let me just comment this. Okay, so simple interest. The equation is A. So the annual balance is equal to the principal, which is your current balance, times 1 plus the interest rate times the time for the interest. So the balance is in dollars, the rate is in percent, and time in years, okay? So this is the equation for simple interest. Probably have seen it in economics. And then if I do, let's say, print, okay, and I put calculate interest, okay, and I open the bracket. So calculate interest balance, open the bracket. Now here I need to give it these functions, these parameters, sorry. So what is my balance? Let's say my balance was $1,000 at the beginning of the year. Oh, you don't put a dollar, sorry. Just put 1,000, right? It's an integer. Or you can even put 0.0 here. Rate is, so what is the percentage of the interest? Say it's like 3%, okay? And then the time, how long are you doing this interest? I said time is in years, so let's say I was doing it for 2 years, okay? This interest rate. So I said calculate interest balance, this. What it does is it says R is equal to rate divided by 10. So it takes this percentage, so it's 3. It divides it by 10, so now it's 0.3. And it does this function, this A equals to P times 1 plus RT. Yeah, my age is printed as 19 in the term. I'm not sure what you mean exactly. But if you explain, DEF is like how you define the function. So like if I just put this doesn't make sense in Python. Like this won't be a function. But to actually say that this is a function, I have to say DEF, which means define. So define a new function. Yes, you can. So someone asked, can you ask the user arguments can you ask arguments from the user using a Python equivalent of scanf command? Yes, I can. You can. I'll show you right now. So as you see here, if I run this first, it's 1,600. So that means if I have $1,000 at the beginning and I have an interest rate of 3% and it's for 2 years, this interest rate, at the end of these 2 years, I'll have $1,600 in my bank account. Okay. So that's what simple interest is. Let's say, let's do this thing where the person asked about the scanf. So scanf in C is to like ask the user for something, right? In Python, it's actually very easy. So you do a variable, you call it like ask age, okay? Or sorry, ask year born. For example, this is a variable. And I say input, and then I can say here what I want to ask the person. So when were you born? Okay. And then here I'd say print your age is And then I'm going to do a plus, and then I'm going to put ask year born. Actually, yeah, so you calculate age. Let me just do something 1 second. I'm going to call the function. Let's first see here. User age is equal to calculate age. And I put this ask year born inside, and then the current year. Okay. So here I ask the user, when were you born? And then I made a variable called user age, and I ran the function calculate age and put in the first parameter, which was the year born, as the thing that the user inputted. So I said ask year born, and then 2021. So I can say this plus user age like this. So now I run it. It's gonna ask me here, what year were you? When were you born? Right? I could say like 1999. Let's say, right? And I press enter. Oh yeah, sorry. This returns a integer, right? Age, or sorry, yeah, like an integer. You want its string to print it in this type of thing, so you can just do this. You can also do the thing that other people said, which put a squiggly bracket in here, but it's okay if I do this right now. What is this? File name. Oh, I have to do it in int. 1 sec. Will this work? 1000. Okay. So 1999. Yep. Okay. So here, when you do input when were you born, okay, this value is a string when it's first done. But your function actually has to take an integer. So what you would do is you would have to cast it as an integer before passing it into the function. So I made it an integer. Yeah, I made it an integer, and then started. Then I called. Then I did the function, and then I made it a string again to print it. And see here, your age is 22 because I said what year were you born? 1999. I'm gonna try to go a bit more faster now because I want to get to the GUI soon. But you can go on the recordings to go slower if you want. Okay, so just a quick example here. Another one. Just this is another function. Okay, this is if statements. Okay, so if statements. I made another function here for called max, and I want to know the max which number is bigger than the other, and I put in two values here. And I have if statements. I say if a is greater than b, I print a is larger than b. If a is equal to b, I print a is equal to b, and if it's less than, then it's a is smaller than b. And if I can test it here quickly by saying print max 510. Okay, so it should print this one. Let me just comment this out for now because I don't need it. What? Which one? Yeah. Max 5. Yeah, so see here, A5 is smaller than B10. So I printed this, right? So my max function returned this string. I printed it. You don't actually print here. The max function already prints. Sorry about that. 5, 10 here. See, there's no return in this function, meaning when you run it, you shouldn't expect any value out of it. But the function itself has print statements inside. So if I call it max 510, it should print right away this into the terminal. I see here it says 5 is smaller than 10. Yes, in functions you have to indent. So tabs. So tab, and then another tab here, and then a tab for this, and like another tab here. So indentation is very important. If you don't indent in here, it'll give you an error. And also if statements you have to indent. I'm gonna skip this for now. Okay, let me go into for loops quickly. So for I in range 0 to 5, print I. Okay. So for I in this range, okay, if I print this, if I do this for loop, let me actually just comment this out first. Okay. So for I in range 0 to 5, I print I. So what is this? It says, it's like the way of doing for loops in Python is you say for, you know how in C you do like int I equals to 1, and then I is less than or equal to 5, and then that's inside your for loop, like you put this and all that, like I plus plus. No, in Python actually you just do for I and then in this in and then range. So the range is 0 to 5. And what I do is if I print this, it'll do everything up till but not including 5. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So see how I is now, I'm printing I here. So I is first 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, and then 4. Oh yeah, Omer. This here I didn't typecast because this is a different way of saying, of putting numbers inside a print statement or a string. You can just do a comma and you don't need to typecast. Like comma on each side. It does this comma does like a space and then it puts this variable and then another space, and then you can continue on. You don't have to do plus. That's another way of doing it. Here you don't need to typecast if you use commas. If you do plus, that's called concatenating strings. No, it works with everything. I think so. But the plus means concatenating strings, which means you're adding a string to another string and you're combining it, which you don't want. Or sorry, this value returned is not a string, so you're gonna have to do the casting. But if you just use this comma, you don't have to do any casting. Okay. Let me just skip a bit. Uh, okay, let's do this. No. Okay, so this for I in range 0 to 5. What if I say if I is equal to 3, continue? What this continue does is basically says skip the for loop when it gets to 3. So I'll show you right now. What it does is it just prints 0, 1, 2, 4. Oh, 1 second. Yeah, so 0, let me just go up once. It's kind of hard to go up on the terminal. Let me just make it bigger. Yeah, see here? 0, 1, 2, 4. Well, that's because I said when I is equal to 3, continue. What continue means is just don't execute the rest of the for loop. Just go to the next part of the for loop. So it goes to 4. So I skipped 3. Okay. Now let's do while count is less than or equal to. Okay. Let's do some. Let's show you a while loop. I'm gonna start spacing it here so it's faster. A while loop is, you have to also write while, and then here you'd put the condition for the while loop. So a for loop is a loop that's like, you know the range of it, so you have to tell it like a certain range. In a while loop, you can just do a count. Sorry, like you don't know the when the end of it is, but you tell it when to end. So it just keeps running until this is false. So right now it's true. So count is 0, right? Here I set count equals to 0. So it says if count less than or equal to 5, it is, right? So it runs the while loop. So if I run this, I want to just comment this for now. So here, let me just also comment this so it doesn't have to print. Okay. So here, see how it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I print the count and then I do count plus equals 1, meaning this plus equals means like take count. It's the same as count equals to count plus 1. It takes the value of count currently and adds 1 to it, and then sets it back to the variable. So after one time of this loop running, count is now going to equal to 1. The next time it's 2, 3, 4, 5, and then when it gets to 6, so here it's like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When it gets to 6, it's false, so it stops running the while loop.